important for the Red Sox to have the benefit of the true change that can come from a new perspective. But the more I learned about the Cubs, the more I learned about the Ricketts family, the more I learned about a lot of the people over here, the more interested I was. And dating back to my time as a kid, watching some games on WGN, I was a Red Sox fan all the way. But seeing those games on GN, the day games, you come home right after school and they're on. I developed this sort of romantic notion of the Cubs and what they were all about, and Wrigley Field and the history and the tradition, and clearly the fact that we haven't won the World Series in a long time. And it was nice for me that the reality, what I learned about ownership and the fans and the vision here matches up with that romantic vision I have, and that this was the right place to come to.
Theo, Alex Spear with WEEI.com. A two-part question, so I'll sneak one in on you. Obviously, this is a new challenge and a new opportunity, as you referred to, but structurally, how is this different, and what was appealing about this job structurally versus the one you had in Boston? And the second part is, what's this been like the last couple of weeks, just kind of in this, I don't know if it would be characterized as limbo or this kind of in-between liminal state that you've been in?
Sure. I guess I'll answer the second part first. The last couple of weeks have been interesting. I was telling, we had a front office meeting yesterday. I got to meet the whole front office, and I was telling them that I felt like that guy in the movie Office Space with the red stapline stapler who just keeps, when I was at Fenway Park, you just keep showing up to work, and it was as if someone forgot to tell me that I didn't work there anymore. So I did end up in the basement with just a cubicle and a stapler, and then I knew it was time to go to Chicago. But it was fun. I knew the organizations were doing the best they could, and that the relationships were solid on both sides, and that eventually it would get worked out, and it did. Your first question about structural.
How is this job different than the one that you had?
Yeah, this job allows me to lead baseball operations, gives me sort of a wide net of responsibilities to make decisions, allocate resources as I see fit within baseball operations, as was the case in Boston to a large extent. There's some additional responsibilities here. I'm going to serve as the baseball liaison to the business side and work closely with Crane, leading the organization forward. We have a number of projects under development in the Dominican Republic, in Mesa, eventually here at Wrigley, and I will be involved in helping seeing those through to fruition. And with Wrigley, I'll be involved in all the baseball elements of the work that we're going to do here. So it's a great job. I'm perfectly happy with it. I came here to join the Cubs and to help build that foundation and help the Cubs win. I didn't come here for a title or for anything else. But I'm perfectly happy with the structure and even happier about the people I'll be working with.
Thank you all for joining us. Tom, thank you. Theo,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Good job, Tom.
All right, so Theo Epstein has been introduced as the new president of baseball operations. He read from some prepared remarks and then handled questions from a number of different media types, national, local, Boston. Very impressive.
Very polished, very informative. Again, I was just telling you, I said, for me, this is kind of a kick. I mean, this guy's my age. I mean, I sit here and I'm just so impressed with, who this guy is and what he's accomplished in Boston at such an early age. And to come in here and to give us that hope. Again, tell us a little bit about his infrastructure, how he plans to put this thing together. Two things in my mind that really stick out. The player accountability, the players having each other back. The first thing I kind of locked in was the Carlos Zambrano meltdown in Atlanta, and that isolated situation where you felt like that was kind of an example of where this organization really is right now, and it's not a good place. Things have to change. And the other thing is, we talked about, Band-Aids at times, bringing guys in that were past their prime. He made a very good point. You want to pay for guys that are going to be overproductive over their contract. And you did just feel like here in Chicago, a lot of times you overpaid for some contracts and guys have underperformed.
Right. He said, I want to pay for future success, not reward for what they've done.
Exactly. And so, I mean, he's saying all the right things right now, as expected. But again, very, very polished, very impressive, and again, very young. I'm just very impressed with him, with where he's at and what he's able to take on, sitting up there in front of the Chicago media. He got a little taste taste of what's in store here in Chicago and the expectations that we all live with every day to get a championship here on the north side.
Yeah, he and his wife had to look out at that room and go, wow, I guess this is Boston.
Yeah, well, he's going to get a good dose of it because, again, there's going to be the break-in period, but that accountability is going to start kicking in real quick around here.
All right, we are going to send it back to our Comcast Sportsnet studios to Chuck Garfine. Chuck is standing by at the news desk, and let's send it to him now. Chuck?
All right, thank you very much, guys. What Theo said, among other things, I'm ready for the next big challenge. This is the ultimate challenge. You have to agree with that, but a big, big day at Wrigley Field and throughout Chicago on the north side. Plenty more Theo Epstein coverage on the way. We'll go back to Wrigley Field for reaction with Gail Fisher, Todd Hollingsworth, Patrick Mooney from CSNChicago.com. We'll show you some of the highlights of the press conference. Stick around. A special edition of Sportsnet Central is coming up next.
From Grosinger Kia Lincolnwood. Save over $6,000 now on your next Kia. With savings like this, you can lease the new 2012 Kia Optima for only $129 a month. Or lease a new 2012 Sportage for $169. Or lease a new 2012 Sorrento for $199 a month. Over $6,000 off your next vehicle. Get our best deals of the year on our biggest selection of Kias. Only at Grosinger Kia Lincolnwood. Just minutes from downtown. Visit GrosingerKia.com.
Want to achieve more with your money? PNC Virtual Wallet gathers your spending and saving in one place. Credit and debit purchases, checks, bills, and other financial information. It lets you see the details, as well as the big financial picture, so you can do more with your money. See what a complete view of your money can do for you at PNCVirtualWallet.com. PNC Bank, for the achiever in you.
Billion Honda dares you to take the challenge. Shop one of the area's best selections of new Hondas, like a new 2011 Honda CR-V 4-wheel drive automatic LX, now $199 a month. For a new 2012 Honda Accord Sedan automatic LX, now just $175 a month. Or take advantage of 0% financing on virtually every new Honda in stock. So why wait? Take the challenge and win at one of Eastern Iowa's largest Honda dealers, Billion Honda in Iowa City, or at BillionHonda.com.
MC22 will take you where the action is this fall for the area's best high school football matchups. So enjoy the game in person and relive it on MC22 or on demand, Mediacom Channel 1. For daily schedules, log on to mc22.net. See you at the stadium.
Watch Marion versus Maquoketa on demand or on MC22, Saturday at 9 p.m., Sunday at 7 p.m., and Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. Presented by Mid-American Energy and these great sponsors.
Find everything you need in the Menards Home Improvement Catalog. Get the ultimate in paint technology with new Dutch Boy Platinum. Its exclusive no-prep, no-prime formula has advanced stain blocking technology for superior coverage versus other leading brands. Platinum's one-coat coverage will save you time and money and is the fastest way to a beautiful finish. Right now, save $7 per gallon and $35 on 5-gallon pails.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, I'm Daniel Carcillo. You're watching the home of Chicago's best Blackhawks coverage, Comcast Sportsnet.
Sportsnet Central.
I was so fortunate to spend a decade in the Red Sox organization, and I consider myself very, very lucky to be a Cub today. It truly is an honor and a privilege to join such a special organization. To me, baseball is better with tradition. Baseball is better with history. Baseball is better with fans who care. Baseball is better in ballparks like this. Baseball is better during the day. And baseball is best of all when you win. That ultimately is why I'm here today.
A new era has begun with the Chicago Cubs. Theo Epstein, introduced as the team's new president. His goal, not an easy one, but it is quite simply bring the Cubs a World Series title. And hello, everybody. Welcome to this special edition of Sportsnet Central. I'm Chuck Garfien. Epstein began today writing a heartfelt letter to Red Sox fans in the Boston Globe, explaining why the time was right to leave Boston. And now with Epstein aboard, Cubs fans are hoping it is finally their time. What will it take for the Cubs to win that elusive World Series title? Epstein said it goes beyond him.
When we do achieve that sustained success and ultimately win a World Series, it will not happen because of any one person. It will happen because of all of us. It will happen because one of our area scouts drives the extra 6 miles to get that one last look at a prospect before the draft. It'll happen because a rookie ball pitching coach comes out every day to early work until he finally finds that right grip for a young pitcher's changeup. It will happen because someone from our international staff takes the extra time to really get to know a 17-year-old kid and helps make his transition to the States that much easier. It will happen because a fringe prospect in Double-A buys into the Cubs' way, takes responsibility for his own development, and turns himself into a big piece of our big league puzzle. It will happen because our major league coaching staff is more prepared than their counterparts across the field. It'll happen because our major league players band together, support each other, overcome adversity, and work really hard to make our fans proud. It will not be any one person. It will be all of us for the Chicago Cubs. I believe we will do it, and I really can't wait to help lead the way.
All right, with more on the press conference, let's go back to Wrigley Field. Gail Fisher is with us. He certainly said all the right things. Very impressive to see what he said. I guess now Cubs fans want to know, well, can he then deliver on all these promises?
That's right, Chuck. And Holly, you and Cap were just talking about the fact that Theo was saying all of the right things. It's interesting. Every time we have a press conference with anyone new who comes to the Cubs, we always ask them, what about the ballpark? What about playing during the day? And Theo took care of that in his opening remarks right off the bat, saying baseball is better with history. Baseball is better with fans, obviously, coming to the ballpark. Baseball is better with a ballpark like Wrigley, and baseball is better being played during the day.
No, he said a lot of the right things. You're absolutely right. But for me, I'm really excited about the process, and he touched on it a little bit. He talked about redeveloping the minor league system, buying into a Cubs way, producing a system that's going to continue to produce prospects and kids who are going to come through the system. They're going to help this big league club win either by trades or coming up and helping the Cubs team itself. A lot of good things for us to be excited about. This isn't one of those situations where, again, you felt like he was coming in to say the right things because, sure, he's the new man in town. He's got a vision, and he's got a plan, and he's going to execute it. That is going to happen. It's just a matter of time before this is a team that is continually producing 90-win seasons, and that's your goal, and it should be your goal every year. I know he talks about 95 wins, but I mean, again, this is a team that's going to go out there and put itself in a position to compete and to win. The resources are here. There's no reason. I've said this for an awful long time here on the north side. There is no reason that this team should not be competitive, have a chance to get themselves into the playoffs every season.
Well, it's interesting, Holly. There's actually several questions that were not answered in this press conference. Compensation, for one, to the Red Sox still needs to be determined. He didn't talk much about making any announcements in terms of his personnel, including manager. He said he had some phone conversations with Mike Quade and plans to meet with him in person. Just in your opinion, where do you think that's going to go? Do you think Quade has a shot at coming back next year, or will he probably go out and seek a new manager?
Well, unfortunately, I really don't think that he does. I feel like this is a situation where there's going to be an overhaul to some extent. You're going to see some turnover, and it's going to happen, and it's probably going to happen quickly. But again, much like Theo coming to the north side, it's going to take time to see your way through this process. These are decisions, these are huge decisions that are made for the livelihood of the organization and the livelihood of the city and the baseball that's in this city. These decisions don't just happen overnight. So again, he's going to go in, he's going to make the best decision possible after assessing what's going on. He's talked about not even having to face-to-face with Mike Quade. So I mean, that's not even fair to him. He wants to evaluate, he wants to see where this organization is. That's going to take some time, and you know that he's going to to make the right decisions for him and for his game plan and how this is all going to go about. You know that in just a few days we're probably going to be announcing a new general manager and a new assistant. So, I mean, these are things that are all part of the process and they're going to take some time. But you're right, there's definitely some moves out there, especially when you talk about the 25-man roster, you talk about the manager's seat and the coaches that will go with them that are going to have to be made rather quickly.
Well, he did answer the question in terms of, he was asked directly about the payroll, and he said, I have a policy, do not discuss payroll whatsoever. So, in essence, didn't give us an answer to that. But with the World Series winding down, only a couple of games left, there is going to be that free agency period. You do have some pressing issues with Aramis Ramirez, Carlos Pena, and decisions you have to make. Are you going to bring Carlos Zambrano back? Do you feel that Theo is ready and prepared to make those decisions quickly?
Well, absolutely. I feel like he did. If you listen to him really carefully, he gave you a lot more information than maybe you saw on the surface. He talked about spending for the future, spending on guys that are going to continue to be productive, past the life of their contract or during the life of their contract, paying for the performance that you're going to get, not the performance that got him into the position to earn the contract. I've said it an awful lot. Guys are paid for what they've done. Ultimately, they are on some level, but you have to recognize a guy's prime, how he's performing, how he projects out. Is he 32, 33 years old and giving a 4 or 5 year deal? Is that a very smart investment? He's telling you that it's probably not in his mind because, again, he's got a formula, a system that works, and he told you a little bit about guys' primes. He feels that most guys fall into that 26, 27-year-old to 31, 32. So if that's their prime, that's where that contract might exist for some potential free agents that might come to the north side and help this team win. But ultimately, it would probably eliminate some people, too.
And if you listen carefully, Todd, you also heard him talk a lot about accountability. Somebody asked him, what makes you think you can come in here and make the change and bring a winning club to this franchise? And he said, well, it's not just going to be me. It's going to be everybody. And with regards to the cultural change, it's going to be from the ground up. So it's not just going to be about the players at the big league level. It's not just going to be about the front office management. It's going to be about the guys in rookie ball. It's going to be about the guys over in the Dominican and the international development of players. So he did talk a lot about accountability from top to bottom.
Oh, that's the most exciting thing that I think Theo said today, at least for me personally, because that's, again, how you create a winning atmosphere. Winning is confidence, plain and simple. This is an organization that, at some extent, has lacked consistent confidence, the ability to go out there and know that you can beat your opponent, know that you can lose, know that you're going to come out and battle again the next day. I mean, that's what this city needs, and that's what you want to see. You saw glimpses of it in 2008. I mean, this was a ball club that went out there, no matter what happened each and every day, you felt like that day or the following day that they were going to have a chance to win. That's what you want to create, not just for a particular time frame, that 2008 season. We're talking year after year after year. Again, he's right. It's going the extra mile. Even the people in the lower parts of the minor leagues who are developing young talent that are going to make the extra steps, put in the extra hours, it all resonates. It all floods the system. When everybody's doing it, if you're not doing it, it stands out. You get recognized for not doing it that way. So again, and he talked about making quick moves to remove those people if they weren't going to get on board and pull in the same direction. So that's what you've got to be excited about because, well, for me personally, that's really, speaking as a former club under Jim Hendry, it wasn't always there. You just felt like, at times there was the opportunity to go out and get the players, and you felt like the free agents were strong. And the minor league system was certainly helping, but again, it just felt, well, at least the last few years, you felt some desperation, making some moves to hopefully, fill some gaps, and unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. He talks about the clubhouse and a lot of the things there that we've seen over the last few years that have been brought into question, players having each other's backs. It took me to the Carlos Zambrano situation in Atlanta earlier this year where you felt like, well, that wasn't really the situation. You felt like, one player was going off in this direction, the player was going this way, the manager's having to defend one and not defend the other. And, well, I mean, that's exactly what he's talking about changing.
And I also think, too, that he recognized a lot of people think this was just about Boston's collapse is the reason why this opened the door for Theo to come here. But he also talked about the fact that the Cubs in the draft this past summer were doing the right things, and he noted to himself, hey, they finally get it. They're doing what I would be doing. And so I think that, too, opened the door for Theo saying, hey, I think the Cubs are a good possibility for me. Chuck, let's send it back to you in the studio.
Actually, I have one quick thing. I think the biggest news to come out of the press conference is that it seems that he was confirming that he was at Starbucks that one day at Wrigley Field. What do you think?
I guess so. You know what? He did say a lot of things that we could read into, but yes, he probably was at the Starbucks, Todd, don't you think?
Well, he's got rock star status. We know that. I think most people in this country recognize that. And here in Chicago, I mean, when you're desperate, boy, things like that happen. And any chance to lay eyeballs on him, it's going to get out.
All right.
All right. So we'll probably be seeing him hanging out at various different places, including the Starbucks here on the north side. Chuck?
All right. Thank you very much, Gail and Todd. Good stuff from Wrigley Field. We'll show you the biography, the bio, I should say, of Theo Epstein. It's a unique one when you consider that he became the general manager of the Red Sox at the age of 28, the youngest general manager in Major League history. Believe it or not, he, at first, after graduating from Yale, pursued a career in sports writing, but it didn't last long. He really loved the game of baseball, and this is where he has ended up, and now named Cubs president of baseball operations and trying to bring a World Series title to the Cubs. And as the Cubs' new president, Theo does have a lot on his plate. The team lost 91 games last year. There are some hefty contracts, and then there is the decision about what to do about manager Mike Quade. Here is David Kaplan with more.
Probably the best part of being with the Red Sox was playing a small part in winning that World Series in 2004 and getting to see the looks on people's faces, the joy that it brought them, the families that were hanging Red Sox pennants on the graves and cemeteries, that ride from Logan Airport to Fenway Park where we saw businessmen and women stopping in the middle of the street when they saw our bus, getting out and hugging each other, you know, construction workers hugging each other up on top of buildings, and it really impacted a whole region of the country and generations of families. So the Cubs opportunity provides us a forum to do both those things. We can build a scouting and player development operation from the ground up, do it together, and end up having lots of players come through the system under the Cubs way, play right here at Wrigley. And, you know, when we build that foundation for sustained success and it ultimately results in a World Series, it's gonna be more than just a World Series. It's gonna impact a lot of people, a lot of Cubs fans, a lot of Cubs families who for generations have waited and waited for a World Series. So the two best things about my Red Sox experience, I may have a chance to try to recreate here. So sure, it got my attention and made me consider making that move.
Clearly a lot of parallels between the Red Sox and the Cubs and their histories, and you can see what they did under Epstein in his time there. The first season, they lost the American League Championship Series, but then won that World Series title in 2004, won again in 2007, and obviously the collapse of what happened in September. Some people think that really paved the way for him to come to the Cubs, but believe it or not, in his op-ed piece to the Boston Globe today, Theo Epstein did admit that the plan was in place to actually leave the Red Sox in 2012 when his contract was to expire, but because maybe a little bit of what happened obviously in September and the Cubs pursuing him, those plans were brought up or moved up a year. Now, here's David Kaplan with Epstein's to-do list now that he's here with the Cubs.
One of the first big decisions Theo Epstein must make will be who will manage the Cubs in 2012. Mike Quade has 1 year left on his contract, but a 91-loss season has put his future in doubt. If Epstein decides to make a change at manager, one of the leading candidates could be the man Quade beat out for the gig, Ryne Sandberg. Rhino spent 4 years managing for the Cubs in the minor leagues, and last winter, Epstein tried to hire the Hall of Famer as skipper of the Red Sox AAA team.
We should play better here. We stings.
The biggest player-related issue is the fate of Carlos Zambrano. Back on August 12th, Big Z allowed 5 home runs to the Braves. Then after being ejected, cleaned out his locker and told people he was retiring. The next day, the Cubs placed Zambrano on the disqualified list, and he did not pitch the rest of the season. Epstein will try and find a team willing to take on Zambrano and the $18+ million left on his contract for 2012.
Aramis sends it deep into the night. Cubs win! A 2-run blast.
Third baseman Aramis Ramirez has said he expects to test the free agent waters. Epstein must decide if Ramirez, who had a $16 million mutual option for next season, is in the Cubs' plans. Another free agent is first baseman Carlos Pena, who made $10 million in 2011. Epstein may re-sign Pena, or he could elect to make a big splash by going after one of 2 big-name free agent first basemen, Prince Fielder or Albert Pujols. Bringing Fielder or Pujols to Chicago would not only strengthen the Cubs lineup, it would also weaken a divisional opponent coming off a postseason run. Epstein comes to Chicago as the Cubs are looking for ways to renovate 97-year-old Wrigley Field. During Theo's time in Boston, the Red Sox made numerous improvements to Fenway Park and won a pair of titles along the way. Cubs fans can only hope Epstein brings with him the blueprints to build the Cubs into a World Series champion for the first time since 1908. Covering the Cubs, I'm David Kaplan, Comcast Sportsnet.
All right, Cap, thank you very much. Theo Epstein, this is what he said to the Boston Globe, wrote in the Boston Globe in an op-ed piece this morning. Football legend Bill Walsh used to say that coaches and executives should seek change after 10 years with the same team. This idea resonated with me. Although I tried my best to fight it, I couldn't escape the conclusion that both the Red Sox and I would benefit from a change sometime soon. The Cubs, with their passionate fans, dedicated ownership, tradition, and World Series drought, represented the ultimate new challenge and the one team I could imagine working for after such a fulfilling Red Sox experience. Stay right there. Much more to come from Wrigley Field, and the introduction of Theo Epstein is on the way. We'll speak live with Patrick Mooney of CSNChicago.com and have much more on this special edition of Sportsnet Central, live from the studios of Comcast Sportsnet after this.
After every Blackhawks game, cue up Jose Cuervo Blackhawks postgame live. Chris Bowden and Steve Conroy provide in-depth analysis. Plus, we'll take you live to the stadium for player interviews and Coach Q's presser. Jose Cuervo Blackhawks postgame live after every Hawks game on Comcast Sportsnet.
GMC Truck Month. For all those times when it's just you and your trailer. For all those times when the job demands that you stay connected. For those times when nothing comes between you and the game, we offer our best Sierra ever. During GMC Truck Month, get 0% financing for 60 months, plus $1,000 cash allowance on Sierra, plus 1 year of Sirius XM satellite radio, including every NFL game.
Now winning.
Tonight at 5:30, Theo Epstein will be live in the studio, joining David Kaplan and company on Chicago Tribune Live, a special day for the Cubs franchise, and he'll be here to talk about the day and this new chapter in his baseball career. That is Chicago Tribune Live at 5:30 tonight. And one of the big stories with the Cubs this offseason will be what to do about Mike Quade. He's a lame duck manager with one more year left on his contract. And the first question addressed to Theo Epstein by the media was, in fact, what to do about the managing situation.
Yeah, I've already had a couple nice phone conversations with Mike Quade. And we have plans to meet in person sometime over the next week. So, Mike seems like a great guy, and he's developed a great reputation over many decades in this game. So I look forward to sitting down with him in person as a first step, sharing with him my vision for the organization. I'd like to hear his vision for the organization. We have to talk about some things that have happened over the last year or so, but I look forward to that process of exchanging information, sharing our visions, and then we'll get together as a group and decide where we go from there.
With more on this topic and others, let's go live to Patrick Mooney from CSNChicago.com. It does seem, if you want to read between the lines there, it does seem like Quade, in a way, is going to be interviewing for his job to get it back with Epstein. What are your thoughts about what Epstein said here today?
Yeah, Chuck, I think that's kind of what everyone expected. Mike Waddy has a year left on his contract. He has a good reputation throughout the game. As Theo said, he's been around for decades, and he deserves that courtesy to sit down and essentially interview for his job. I thought it was interesting that Theo said one of the reasons he left was because he thought it would be unfair to pick the next manager for Ben Sherrington, knowing that he would probably be gone after 2012. So he obviously clearly values that position within the dugout.
So everyone's going to point to Ryne Sandberg. What do you think about this connection? Obviously, Rhino wanted the job last year, didn't get it. He did go after, Epstein went after Sandberg to become maybe the manager of their AAA club. What do you think the chances are, if he decides to let Quade go, that Sandberg becomes that replacement in the dugout for the Cubs?
Chuck, I think there'd be a better chance of maybe Rhino being a base coach, something like that. But I think they have to get the Mike Quade question answered first. And then I think what kind of became clear today is that Theo spent a lot of time thinking about the Cubs, what they have, what they need to do. So I'm sure he has a short list in the back of his mind if that's the way he decides to go.
How much work do you think needs to be done? I mean, he's someone obviously who comes into this situation bringing a lot of optimism, a lot of experience, and obviously things worked out very well for him with the Red Sox. But what do you think, how much work needs to be done to really get this franchise headed in the right direction? It does seem like a great situation for him because he's got clearly a successful blueprint.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Chuck. I think the next window of contention is kind of opening. They have a commitment from ownership. They have a vision of what they want to do. They have several big contracts kind of coming off the books. They're going to have flexibility to go out and get the players they want. And I think this farm system is better than people have given them credit for. There might not be the all-stars you're looking for, but there's a lot of useful major league players they feel like that could be around. They're not going to cost a lot of money either.
And you look at what Tom Ricketts was trying to do. He comes into this job. This is his first really big hire, big move, you could say, as the owner of the Cubs. And Theo Epstein falls into his lap. I don't want to say it was luck. Maybe it was some luck. But how about just the fact that how much fortune was involved here to have one of the best general managers and now president of your franchise, I don't want to say fall in your lap, but have the ability to get someone like this at the time when you actually needed him?
Yeah, it took the perfect storm to kind of get him here to Chicago. Theo just said that if Terry Francona doesn't leave, then he probably stays on for another year. The Red Sox had this epic collapse, and everything kind of fell the Cubs away, and they got a guy who really, there are obviously other qualified people out here who could do the job, but I'm not sure if you could find anyone really better than Theo Epstein.
And sure enough, he got him. Patrick Mooney, thank you so much. We'll read your stuff on our website, csnchicago.com, later today. Now, as we move forward here on Sportsnet Central, we can show you really some of the top free agents available. So what kind of moves potentially could Theo Epstein make? There's been all sorts of speculation about Albert Pujols, Prince Fielder possibly coming to the Cubs. Theo would not announce or disclose what kind of payroll he's going to be having with the Cubs. That was something he never did with the Red Sox. He's going to continue that tradition here. So who knows how much money he will have at his disposal. C.J. Wilson, one of the top lefties available on the free agent market. The Cubs would clearly use someone like that in their rotation. We'll have to wait and see. Stay right there. Much more ahead here on, I guess we'd almost call it the Theo Epstein Show right now. Paul Sullivan of the Chicago Tribune will join us next. Stay right there.
The leaves are falling, and so are prices at Four Seasons. Get ready for winter with a new furnace from just $17.95 installed. Furnace and AC combos from just $36.95. And save over $2,000 in rebates and energy tax credits. Plus, enjoy 4 years interest-free financing. We'll beat any competitor's price by up to $500. Guaranteed.
For all the right reasons, call 866-4 Seasons.
Is this what happens when you get caught driving without car insurance? No, but
considering the fines and penalties, it sure feels that way. 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. State minimum coverage, maximum savings.
The Illinois Lottery's new Cash Spectacular Instant Game has 7.6 million prizes. To show you what that looks like, we filled this glass jar with 7.6 million marbles. Oh, wow, just look at all those prizes. Here a prize, there a prize, everywhere a prize. With the $200 million Cash Spectacular, prizes will be everywhere. 7.6 million prizes, one game. Now that's spectacular.
TireRack.com is more than just an online tire resource. We're your one-stop online tire know-how, know-who, and know-what. Speaking of that, know what else? Our prices are practically unbeatable. And that's all you need to know. We're revolutionizing the way you buy tires. Right now, get up to an $80 mail-in rebate when you buy a set of 4 select Goodyear tires. For details, go to TireRack.com/TV. TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
To equip the Lexus ES with standard features more like the Mercedes C300, you'd have to take out the 6-disc CD changer and leather-trimmed seats. With the BMW 328i, you'd also lose the 17-inch alloy wheels. And some others in its class? Forget wood detailing or sound-dampening windshields, to name a couple. But why would you want to do that? The Lexus ES Standard is nothing short of extraordinary. Lease the 2011 ES350 for $389 a month for 36 months, with $41.89 due at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
We believe that the Chicago Cubs have the best fans in baseball. We know that we have the best ballpark in baseball. And we look forward to the day where we can say that we have the best team in baseball. And we are confident that our new president of baseball operations will lead us to that day.
All right, a big day for the Chicago Cubs franchise. Theo Epstein, in a press conference, named the president of the Cubs. And let's join Paul Sullivan of the Chicago Tribune live at Wrigley Field. First off, Paul, your reaction, your thoughts about the way that what Epstein said here, and maybe what he didn't say in his press conference here today.
Well, really the only thing he didn't say was who his next GM was, or if he was going to have a GM. He kind of tabled that for the time being. He discussed his belief in analytical objective analysis of baseball. He gave props to the scouting, talked about the organization from head to toe, what his philosophy on baseball is. He's not going to be spending a whole lot on free agents, doesn't sound like, at least long-term commitments, but he believes in growing the product on the field through the farm system. I thought it was very impressive performance by Theo, and people have a lot to look forward to here.
And I would say this, on paper, it certainly seems like he is the perfect person needed for the Cubs franchise at this point. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, he's a very well-spoken individual, obviously, and he's a young guy, very sharp, Yale educated. Yeah, they definitely needed a change here. Jim Hendry, obviously the best general manager in Cub history, got him to the playoffs, I think 3-4 times. They didn't succeed, but at least he got them there a number of times. And Theo is just going to bring in a new change, a new philosophy. I think a lot of Cub fans are behind him just from what he's done in Boston. They do have a lot of homegrown talent there, Pedroia, Ellsbury, Buchholz. So it's not going to be an overnight thing, but I think people are really going to be behind him and believe that he can get it done here.
The year before Theo went to Boston, the Red Sox were 93-69 in 02. 03 he comes there, they went 95-67. They improved by 2 games. What kind of improvement? Obviously, there's a larger gap there to get to becoming a winning team for the Cubs. What kind of improvement do you think he can make individually in one season, next season with the Cubs?
Well, as he said, you know, it's not about him, it's about his staff, and he is going to bring in some smart people with him, and Jason McLeod and Jed Hoyer being 2 of those guys. So, but I do think that they can improve next year. They're really, the pitching did get better the second half. It wasn't as good as you would like, obviously. The hitting improved. If you have Dempster, Garza, Randy Wells. That's a decent threesome to start things off with. Obviously, you're going to need some more starting pitching, but the bullpen, the Marmol question was really not raised. Whether he believes in Marmol as his closer, that's going to be a key question. Aramis Ramirez, looks like he's probably gone. We don't know what he's going to do with Pena at first base, whether he's coming back. But, you know, we saw what Arizona did. They went from 90-something losses to a division title in one season. So it can be done. It's not impossible in baseball to turn things around that quickly anymore.
All right. We'll look forward to your stuff tonight on Chicago and the ChicagoTribune.com. Thank you so much. We will talk to you soon, Sully.
Thanks, Chuck.
All right, there's Paul Sullivan from Wrigley Field. Stay right there. Much more ahead here on the special edition of Sportsnet Central. Back with more after this.
We've all been there, face-to-face with the list, the honey-do list. But with CLR, it's easy to cut the list down to size. Start in the bathroom with that shower head. Give it a quick dip in some CLR and see how strong it can really run. CLR is great for the washer and dishwasher, too. Same thing with a coffee maker. For its best tasting brew, use CLR to clean your tools and make them shine. And CLR is safe for the environment. CLR has what you need to make fast work of any cleaning job around your house. CLR is available at these stores.
Find everything you need in the Menards Home Improvement Catalog. Light up your home with help from Fight. These 65-watt flood bulbs are designed for indoor track and recessed lighting. A 6-bulb value pack is only $4.97. Control your lighting more efficiently with dimmer switches from Lutron. The Toggler C.L dimmer works with dimmable CFL and LED bulbs, $14.97. The Skylark EcoDim model can save you at least 15% in energy costs, $17.88.
Save big money at Menards.
This summer, Chicago baseball lives on one channel. Comcast Sportsnet. More Cubs and Sox games than any other network. Exclusive interviews, legendary voices.
You can put it on the board. Yes! Cubs win!
And round-the-clock coverage of the teams you live for. All summer long, Chicago baseball lives on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
Comcast Sportsnet Chicago is brought to you locally in part by PuroClean, the paramedics of property damage.
Discover new luxury residential condominiums in Coralville's attractive high-rise Plaza on 5th. Live in high style on one of the 3 top floors with commercial amenities below and Coralville's Center for Performing Arts at your front door. Condominiums feature hardwood floors and other customizable finishes in 1 and 2 bedrooms. Preview today. Plaza on 5th. Arrive.
Comcast Sportsnet, now part of the NBC Sports Group.
Last night at Pisano's in Glenview was the 3rd annual Jack Brickhouse and Rudy Malnati Sr. benefit with celebrity bartenders like Bulls legend Bob Love, former Bears QB Bob Avellini. Proceeds benefiting Children's Memorial Hospital. Well, Theo Epstein's all about challenges. He had one in Boston, ending the curse of the Bambino. He's out to end another one with the Cubs. And if he does, he'll go down in history as one of the greatest executives in baseball history, as the Cubs introduced him as their new president here today. But our Theo coverage is only just beginning. If you missed the press conference, we'll replay it in its entirety at 4:30, and then at 5:30, Theo will join David Kaplan and company in the studio for Chicago Tribune Live at 6:30 at Sportsnet Central. 7 o'clock, we'll get you ready for the Blackhawks and Ducks with Blackhawks pregame live. That leads you up to the Ducks and Blackhawks from the United Center, 7:30. Then it's Blackhawks postgame live, followed by Sportsnet Central. And that is going to do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Chuck Arfine. Remember, for all your sports news 24/7, log on to our website at csnchicago.com. We'll see you next time.
Man, where are all the shrimp? I think I see something. Good, because I'm starving. I could really eat some shrimp. I just love shrimp. Be quiet. It's coming this way. Here, shrimpy, shrimpy, shrimpy. That's not a shrimp!
Introducing Honey Walnut Shrimp. Crispy tempura shrimp, wok tossed in a gourmet honey sauce and topped with glazed walnuts. A delicious new reason to visit Panda Express.
Eddie?
Is your computer running slowly? Thinking about buying a new one? Don't waste your money. Your computer could be infected with spyware, malware, viruses, or you could be experiencing registry errors, spam, and pop-ups. With new technology, you no longer need a technician to come to your home or drop your computer at some store. Get a free diagnosis at maxmyspeed.com and find out in minutes what's slowing down your computer.
They were able to diagnose it and solve our problem. It's at least 100% to 150% quicker than before.
My computer runs twice as fast.
The computer has run so much quicker. It's safer, it's faster, it's more secure.
My computer is 100% faster than it was prior. All I could say is, I'm a raving fan. This is unbelievable.
Go to maxmyspeed.com right now for your free diagnosis and find out in minutes what's slowing down your computer. That's maxmyspeed.com for your free diagnosis.
This new AT&T 4G LTE is fast.
Hey, 2 tickets just opened up on the 50. Yep, about to pick them up at will call.
So 46 seconds ago.
Did you guys hear that Chapman rolled his ankle? Done. Get out there.
So 12 seconds ago.
Do you guys know how to post videos to Facebook? Do you guys know how to post videos to Facebook?
Did you guys hear someone stole the other team's mascot?
So 27 seconds ago.
Stay a step ahead with 4G LTE. Fast just got faster. AT&T.
Get road ready at CarX. Now get a full-service oil change for $29.99 and get a free tire rotation, 2 free wiper blades, a free battery check, and free visual brake inspection. All for $29 and for a limited time. Buy today and use today, or save it for a rainy day at CarX.
Hi, I'm David Kaplan. Tuesday on CTL, Theo Epstein live in our studio. The new head of Cubs baseball ops talks about taking over at Wrigley and trying to bring a championship to the north side. All at 5:30.
Oh, my God, look at the fish. God, look at the size of that fish.
He's the fishing man fishing anytime he can. Yeah!
Look at the size of that fish. It must be, oh, look at that.